that anybody's my rival.
That's right. Hello, Break Candy Podcast, episode 885. Welcome to the show. We're in February now. How you doing? How you doing?
Moving closer to my birthday. I love it.
You like February because of that?
I'm very excited. February is going to be a good month. This whole year, it's exactly, so far, so good.
What do you hope you get for your birthday?
Oh, a lot of snow.
Really? That's it? You just want powder?
What do I want for my birthday? I mean, there are like little things here and there, but like, I think, you know what it is I have, we've talked about how we're no longer buying disposable clothes. We are not doing that anymore. We are like only getting good stuff. Well, I have also said to myself, I am not going to be buying any of said good stuff until the crappy stuff wears out and I need to toss it.
Yeah.
Well, we're at crappy stuff is worn out and we need to toss it phase. So I'm really glad that we have some new sponsors that I'm really excited about that have like given me a,
Quality
ability
stuff,
to kind of like look at my wardrobe in a different way. Okay. But yeah, so like clothes and stuff like that, which I never say and never would usually pick, but like I'm starting to notice the difference and I don't have to go, I mean, it's like I bought a North Face jacket on Poshmark, so like, but I need to get like the nice stuff. Okay. I
actually ordered you a gift and then returned it. Here's what it was.
Oh my gosh. You could just, your friendship alone is gift enough. So you know that.
What if? Okay. The present, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. It was like this tome, Birkenstock book, the history of Birkenstock.
Cool.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Because I thought it was going to be so beautiful. Yeah. But because it's big, but it was number one, soft cover. Oh. What kind of a coffee table book would you put out that's a soft cover? Yeah. And there was nothing on the front except Birkenstock, the word Birkenstock. I was like, no. You got to see, they're going that Birkenstock, but with a book, like where it's like ugly. But maybe useful or whatever. I was like, absolutely
but that is so
not.
nice. What a great thought. That is something I would definitely love.
Well,
so
I was like, that's $80. It was like an $80 book. I'm like, no, you better give me a hardcover.
Oh, they're out of their damn minds.
You.
Oh, hell no. No.
That would have been a slap in the face to give to Sarah for her birthday.
Oh,
she does not like wasting money.
Right, exactly.
That's funny,
the thrifty person in me would never allow it for the same reason that I don't think. Now, this got me in trouble in my last relationship because I had announced that anybody who would buy flowers on Valentine's Day,
fool,
is a fool.
Yeah.
This was interpreted as she doesn't ever need flowers, I guess.
Well, that's a real loose reading of that statement.
Real loose reading, apparently. But or also interpreted as I don't need to do anything for Valentine's Day. It doesn't,
Right. What you're actually saying is be more creative, be like thoughtful.
Yeah, I'm like a time and quality time and an activity together, whatever, that kind of thing. So I have to be careful, what I say.
People hear what they want to hear, though.
Yeah.
Because you didn't say don't do anything. You were just like, don't pay the premium on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so it would be like me to be like, getting a book that's soft cover for $80, I would rather have zero present.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Well, don't worry. I'll get you some other stuff that's way better than that. Birkenstock. I should have thumbed through it, though. Maybe there was some cool images.
I'm also an adult who doesn't need anything, who just needs, like, nothing. And like, I totally...
Remember when I sent you a singing telegram?
Oh, my God. That was so fun. I cried so much. I should post that video again. I did not get enough. That needs to become its own reel. I need to like go back and just content. It's so good. It was a B, and it was so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good times, great oldies. Yeah. All right, so okay, we're in February, Sarah's birthday month. All right, let's just dive in, shall we?
Yeah, let's freaking do it.
Let's freaking do it. Okay. This is an update. Do you remember when we talked about that guy in England who had, in 2009, bought a bunch of Bitcoin and then accidentally threw the hard drive away?
Yes, I do.
And he was petitioning to the local authorities to let him rifle through the garbage because now it's worth, let me look.
Oh my God.
Now it is worth $750 million.
Oh my God.
I mean, for real, it was 8,000 Bitcoins on this hard drive.
I see what it's up to.
Okay. So the update is, he keeps appealing, and the latest judge said, no.
Why? Why can't he? Why? That's stupid.
It's maddening.
Let the guy fucking look through the trash. Is this one of those stupid things that as soon as you throw it in the trash can, it then becomes the property of the...
Yeah.
They're trying to find it.
You think? I wonder.
Susie!
Well, because it's been 12 years. How have they not found it? If they were going through it with robot dogs or whatever they use.
Robot dogs? You think robot dogs will find the robot?
That's what the article said.
No, that's so great.
And they were like, they could use manpower.
What if it were like that little toy, that goes, arf, 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 and then just does a backflip, Like, right. Like, it's just that, and it takes for fucking ever because he does a backflip every 3 steps. Oh, God, that would be so funny.
That's what's holding it up.
That's what's holding it up.
That's why they haven't found it yet. This dumbass dog keeps doing backflips. They can program
it to do everything, but just can't stop it from doing that.
He said, remember, back in the day even, he said, I'll give you a portion. Like, you can have half or whatever.
Oh, my God.
And think about it. You know what?
Do you think?
Yeah.
They might not know what they're looking for. What it looks like. That they are going in blind, kind of.
Oh, my God. They're looking for, like, doubloons.
Yeah.
Gold doubloons.
Yeah, they're like, okay, gold Bitcoins. These things are probably round and probably shiny.
I love it. That's sort of what it was like when there was a Supreme Court hearing about Pornhub, and one of the justices asked, like, is Pornhub sort of like good old, like, Playboy, where, like, you would have, like, these philosophical minds debating, like, important cultural stuff? Because, in Playboy, there were really cool
articles,
Noam Chomsky and all these, like, Dick Cavett guest type people talking about important stuff, and they were asking if that goes on Pornhub. Because they genuinely don't know. It ain't going on.
No.
It's
they don't
just...
know anything. Oh, my God.
It is just acronyms.
Yeah.
And whatever.
And I don't even know.
I know. I was just trying to think of something. I'm like, I don't know if you were looking at it on there.
I have no fucking clue what it would... Like, if you're like, all right, look for the Bitcoin hard drive thing. I'm like, oh... You mean that, like, floppy disk that I had, but I played the Oregon Trail on? Like, is it like that? I have no fucking clue. What does this thing look like?
Well, you know what a hard drive is. Like, so you have, like,
yeah, I
your
know
PC
that.
or whatever. That's what he threw away. And that's where it is. It lives inside it. And
yeah, but
what
like,
you're
he would
for,
know what he's looking for more than those. Like, that could be a lot of different shapes.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. But they could work together, and everybody's happy. But they say... Yes, once you throw something away, it's not your property. Wow. However, this judge said, no, you're not looking for it, but the property is just the hard drive. The contents on it are still yours.
Oh, that's good.
So he said he's going to keep appealing it, but like...
Well, then just sit back and let them do all the hard work. And they might they're probably not going to look for it anymore.
Why would the content... I guess because the contents don't live... there. The contents are in the ether.
That's like the key. Mm-hmm. And that's like saying you own the storage. You own everything in the storage unit. since you have the key. Yeah. No, you don't. You own the key to the storage unit, which you should fucking give back to that person who owns the storage unit. Okay,
if this were you,
sense,
if
right?
you were the person that accidentally threw a hard drive away and now it was worth $750 million, you could easily lose your marbles about that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just knowing that
it's out there. I have secondary anxiety from it.
It's almost like he should either just let it go or just totally lose it. But he's actually being kind of smart. He's just going through the process of trying to legally get it back.
Yeah.
I don't understand
why
they won't.
What do you mean by totally lose it? You want him to go cuckoo crazy over this?
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, oh, I see.
I think that you could go either
Take
way.
Matters into his own hands. That kind of thing.
Kind of. Because imagine how that would weigh on you.
Oh, every day.
That kind of money.
Constantly. I would hate it.
Anyway, so we'll see what happens. But so far, so bad for that guy.
Yeah. Oh, my God. We've been talking about this for years.
I know. Bless him. He bought the Bitcoin in 2009. He lost the damn thing in 2012. And I think that Bitcoin's going to keep going through the roof. So poor guy. All right. So anywho, that's that. We'll keep you posted. Did you watch the Saturday Night Live documentary series on Peacock?
No.
Okay.
Should I watch that? I always miss things. I am in that, I don't know which streaming service to focus on right now.
I know.
And then I just go back and forth and I feel like I can't find the good things on either. And I'm too overwhelmed because everything's new on Apple Plus. And I don't know. So tell me these things.
Okay. There is a SNL documentary on Peacock. It is 4 episodes. It is great. What I love about it is that I would have never imagined the 4 episodes that they did. So the first one is called something like 5 minutes. And it's about when you audition for SNL, you get 5 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And you're in the room, the one that we all have seen, where they do the opening monologue. And then it's black. It's you look out into just darkness, but there's a table and it's Lorne Michaels and then other producers. And they're watching, but there is no laughter. They are watching as clinicians or
yes.
scholars or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
They are not looking at you in the way that an audience normally would. You have 5 minutes and you bring the heat. You bring whatever you think is hilarious. And so that whole first episode is just footage of people that auditioning. And then it's those same people watching that footage, which they've never seen. They only lived it. Cringy. And all of them have that self-critical,
Could you imagine watching when you defended your dissertation?
No, that is actually disgusting.
Because that's it. That's if I imagine when I did my, whatever the fuck they call it for us. I still can't remember.
Master's thesis or
practicum.
Okay.
There was a name for that when we went in front of the board and then had to be here's why I should be a therapist, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God.
And present the case and all that.
Yeah, you don't want to watch that back.
I would throw up. I cried during it. What the hell? I would throw up.
And Amy Poehler, she watched a few seconds and she was like, that's enough. And they had to turn it off. She was horrified. It's just horrifying. Okay.
Oh, it's the most vulnerable moment in the whole world. Okay, yeah.
So that was fun. Learning what the process is like, how you feel when you're in it. And then, of course, those 5 minutes and then who makes it, who doesn't. So that's a great episode. Then the second episode is all about the writers. And that's fascinating. Just the process of coming up with that episode each week and how it works and what it's like trying to create these stories, these jokes, these skits, whatever sketches, whatever you call it. Okay. Then, funnily enough, the third episode is just about more cowbell. Just that sketch. That was phenomenal.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. That is so funny.
Yeah. And then the fourth episode is about the 11th season, which they call the weird year. But it depends on who
was in that season.
Damon Wayans for one, who I didn't even know he was on SNL. I only know him from In Living Color.
Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, what?
Right? Robert Downey Jr.
Stop it.
Like the weirdest people.
I mean, all of them, they went on to have...
Joan Cusack.
Oh, I love her.
We love all of these people.
Yeah, all these people were very tatalented, but not for SNL.
No.
This is the wrong... Who was the shitty cast? Who did this?
Well,
who's responsible?
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the history of SNL, but there was a 5-year period in which Lorne Michaels quit.
Ah, yes.
And this was his first year back. And I don't know if he didn't have his bearings or it was just one of those weird, funky things. But this was his first season back and it went haywire.
Oh, God.
And it's the whole thing is cringy, but I think they're using it as a way to talk about how there are so many moving parts. And if too many of them aren't right, it can derail the whole thing. And that they were in a fork in the road. Is this going to get the whole show going to get canceled or are they going to elevate to something better? But all 4 of the episodes do such a good job of demonstrating why the show matters, why it's lasted this long, but also some of the problems with it that you and I are convinced in another 10 years, we're going to get a different documentary about how this show is totally toxic and fucked up. And the culture surrounding it is really something.
We've said that.
Yeah, we said that because of the way that they operate and make people stay up all night and do drugs to do that. And then what that can look like. And the women on the show.
It's going to be when Lorne Michaels passes away.
Yeah. I have had it with that guy. He's trouble. We're putting it right here on the record. Okay. I say that guy is I don't know, a sociopath or something. Well, I really do feel
just putting, you know what? Just putting people through that audition process.
Something, right.
Uh-huh.
All of it is so...
and what you permitted for a long time.
Yeah, and even just how he talks about dead cast members. I've always noticed this, where he's sort of detached.
And doesn't he's always seemed like that? And it's been a bit for so long that you have to think maybe it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe disassociated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to... This podcast is so great.
We're prescient
to say I told you so years later.
Yeah. It's weirdish. Okay, I'll tell you what's not weirdish, and that's my Cozy Earth bedding. Oh. I just got a new duvet cover, and it is the best thing that ever happened to me, I'm telling you.
Well, do I
It's bamboo.
Yeah. I know, because I got the sheets, because you told me, and I love them.
Well, because here's what I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my duvet cover, and I was like, I truly thought it was me. I was putting it on wrong or something. I kept measuring. And it turns out it was a different size. And
is this a duvet cover you've had for a while?
It is, and it is cashmere.
Which I love. Was one at your house where I've done your laundry and put it on and noticed it was the wrong size.
My God, you were putting on when I was away and you'd stay.
And when I spent the night at your house.
You should have told me because that's been messing with my head.
I know.
Years.
I feel I. This is funny that you bring this because I vaguely remember this. If it's the same one, and this is.
So now we're working with Cozy. They're like, okay, perfect opportunity. I'm going to order a duvet cover with our coupon code and get a bargain. And it's premium viscose bamboo something. And it is silky smooth. And I thought this is not going to be warm enough because it's frigid. And it is so warm, but still cool, to the touch.
Yeah.
But keeps you warm at night. It's the perfect combination. And then I got the sheets on the go. And every time you wash them, they get softer and better. And I'm telling you, this is the truth. And you can ask Tori Deal. She said the same thing.
Oh, good.
I'm telling you, Sarah.
There you go. Multiple people. And me.
And the jammies.
Yes.
Oh, great jammies.
Those jammies.
They're soft and luscious and cute as heck. Okay. Yeah. They have a deal. Visit CozyEarth.com and use our exclusive 40% off code with Brain Candy. CozyEarth.com, exclusive 40% off code, Brain Candy. Bedding, sweatshirts, jammies. Gosh.
And their socks.
Oh my God. Every time you talk about them, you have another item that I didn't know about.
I know.
Soft.
Not sorry.
Super soft. Okay. Anyway, the cowbell episode is probably my favorite, though. It's so funny and
I can't wait to watch that. Because I have heard the lore or legend of that impacting, what's his name? Christopher Walken's day-to-day life.
He's mad about it.
He's mad about it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love a mad Christopher Walken. Is very funny.
They interviewed the actual Blue Oyster Cult who sings Don't Fear the Reaper. Yes. All of it. It's great. You would love it. Okay, it's on Peacock.
Okay, I'm definitely watching
that. There is this really lovely short film on, let's see.
I love a short film. We don't talk about those, watch those, view
it's
those,
all the long ones.
Until like the Academy Awards comes out, and then I watch all of them in like one sitting. But I know there are other ones out there that are great.
Yes, you will love this one. This called Planet Walker on LA Times. This is about. Okay, so I learned the premise of this before I knew what he looked like. The premise was this guy responded to an oil spill in the 70s by deciding to quit using cars and take a vow of silence. And I'm like, ugh.
Those seem to be not
unrelated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so since he's not using a car, he's walking everywhere. So I'm like picturing one of these other guys we've talked about walking and being all annoying and sanctimonious.
Not really. Is he being sanctimonious, Susie?
Well, this guy's
silently.
Not, but, you know, the other people we've talked about.
Yeah, the other people are.
Skateboard across the country.
So maybe
or walk
this is
around
like
the world.
This is like takes away the part of it you don't like.
Exactly. So I watch Planet Walker, and I know that he's doing this protest against the oil
like
spill.
Planet Walker, like a planet, like walking across the planet. I thought it was like his. You were. Okay,
he's gonna walk, and he's given up cars and decided to take a vow of silence. So I push play, and I'm like, oh, he's black. Now I'm in. Now I'm like, he's a black guy. Well, okay, tell me more.
Now everything's allowed. I take back.
Yeah, because you're not annoying. You're trying to get people to listen.
Yes.
And sometimes the only way you can do that is by not talking.
Yes. And you know what? I'm sure he's been talking for a long time and nobody has been listening. So he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to shut up and do this now. And I fully support him now.
Guess how long he didn't talk?
Oh, my gosh.
This happened in 1971. I think his vow took place in 1972.
I mean, a year would be a long time. A month would be a long time for me. Fucking A, I don't know if I could go for more than a few hours. I talk to myself.
17 years he didn't speak a word.
I wonder what that does to your voice box.
And furthermore, because it is a muscle.
It would atrophy.
Yeah. Maybe
you know when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I am at least.
Maybe he hummed or something to like keep it in shape. I don't know. They didn't cover that. Okay. But wouldn't you assume somebody that does that is like weirdo? Like, you're weird. You're definitely annoying. He was in the documentary and he was wonderful.
Oh, okay.
And he talks now. And so he was talking about it and everything. And he's clever and like playful and knows that it's funny and knows that it's all weird. But he is just delight. Him. He's so great. Okay.
Well, can he teach the white guys a thing or two about how to do this without being such sanctimonious, like you said, all the other words? Attention seekers?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally. Because what he was doing really was just like that his heart hurt about the oil spill. And he just wanted to do something that mattered. And like his family was in, and they're like, we were really supportive when he gave up cars, but not so much when he quit talking. We didn't really see how that was like helpful. Which, you know, as a mom,
that's a hard
I would be
thing.
like, what are you doing?
Right.
Stupid. anyway, so he would walk everywhere, and he would communicate through just like gestures and things like that.
Oh, there's a part of me that thinks he was creating some distance between him and other people, though.
I'm sure there's more to the story.
There's more to the story.
Yeah.
There definitely is. There always is. I think this time there is.
Yeah. And he, along his walk, he stopped off and got a bachelor's degree, still without talking.
Well, okay. You could do that. Yeah.
And he kept walking. And then he stopped off and got a master's and got a PhD.
Damn!
Okay. Without talking.
Okay.
And taught classes without talking.
I was going to say he's giving me professor vibes. I fucking should have said that. I was like, I feel like this guy is going to be a teacher now, or like a professor now. As soon as you were saying he's talking now, I'm like, I bet he does that. Okay, I could see him.
Yeah, so he became a professor, and he was still silent, and it was probably more effectual because I would pay attention.
Yeah.
If somebody was trying to communicate something without verbal words.
And if I go through, think about your college experience, undergrad, all of that. It's hard for me to remember professors. It's hard but somebody who stood out in a way or taught me in an alternative way or had some, I don't know. Now I'm kind of thinking the teacher who teaches in the fox hat is not that incorrect either.
Yeah, maybe they remember more.
Yeah.
But what made the film really powerful is that it did a really good job of explaining how climate activism connects to civil rights, equality, and also that thing that we talk about with like when people do mushrooms or when they're very spiritual and they believe that we're all one.
Like transcendence and like...
Yeah, it's like the understanding that like there is no difference between me and nature. It is the same.
Absolutely.
And that he understood that. And as he walked all those years and stayed silent and thought and studied, he came to the conclusion that it isn't just climate or civil rights or equality. It's kindness.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm wearing a shirt that says "Give a hoot, don't pollute" as she's saying these things. That Susie got me. So yes, it is kindness. It's kindness
is the secret.
Yes. Because then, like, if it's the same thing that makes you return your grocery cart. It's the same thing that makes you not litter and say, you know what? Even though nobody's looking, I am going to find a place to put it. It's the same thing that makes, like, that's being kind because you're being kind to something. Even, you know, you have those moments of like, oh, I'm chewing gum. I could just spit this out. Nope. I think, what if a little duck came across this and picked it up and then the duck choked on a piece of gum, or that somehow destroyed the duck's digestive tract. I don't know how ducks work, and I got to be kind to that little duck. And you could keep doing this for about so much stuff. Gosh, it's a miracle I'm not a vegan, but I love bacon. Anyways.
Right. And that if you really sort of distill it all down, that it comes down to just being kind and just... That's it. It's the special sauce. It's the secret to life. And it sounds too easy, but it's actually the truth. And that's what like philosophers have been trying to teach us for ages, which is like love.
Yes.
Right.
If it really is, it's hard to sift through everything and to have the clarity to be active and not reactive in a moment. I think that so many of us are dealing with stress and all this bullshit and blah, 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 you name it, just life, that we tend to be more reactive. And that makes life seem very complicated because there are so many different things that we're reacting to. But if you can have awareness and almost like view yourself like from the bird's eye view, like you're looking down at the situation, then you can real simply in each moment make very with a lot of practice become easy decisions of, is this kind or unkind? That are binary decisions. Is this safe or unsafe? Getting down, like, does this support me or not? It's like those three. That's all. But it's getting to the place where we have the awareness to answer those questions or ask those questions that is the difficult, challenging part. And this is why everybody should get a therapist. And if you're interested, I'm available. I have sessions available for people in California. A little commercial for myself right now.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Because people need you, and you have space for once. So
I do.
Let's do it.
Sarah@solutionsoc.com. You can email me, and you have to be a resident of California. But I am accepting couples and individuals, and you name it. We can work on this kind of stuff. But yeah, that's not what I was, just a little throwing that in there.
Yeah, do it.
But yeah, that's what I think. I think we just tend to be more reactive, and it does all come down to being kind. Just like, who do I need to be kind to? And
I think it takes a lot of courage to do what he did and to be so weird and go against like societal norms, because people like me are like, ugh, stop it. But what he did was so much more impactful. And like whenever they were making a bill in Congress about oil spills, they were like, we want you to come down and help us write it. So we'll fly you down. He's like, oh, I don't take planes. Yeah. Like, okay, well, you could take a train. He's like, I don't take trains. And he walked from wherever.
Oh, my gosh.
And it took ages. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll just wait till you get here. And they had to just sit there and wait.
He should really invest in a horse.
He got a Prius. He now has a Prius. But they didn't have those until whenever. Like, he went 22 years without any kind of transportation.
I guess the 70s. Yeah, this was a long time ago. This was good for him. He was way ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, this reminds me of, who's that actor? Ed
Begley Jr.
Ed Begley Jr.
I love him, and his books are great. I know you do.
Yeah, and he is the same. He's like, that guy goes to the Oscars on the city bus.
And it's like, you're kind of annoying, but like, he's correct.
He's fucking right. I mean, like, okay, you're right, because he's the one. Oh yeah,
it's annoying because it's like, oh God. They're drawing attention to the fact that we shouldn't be doing this either. And everyone just wants them to shut the fuck up.
Oh, and you know what? Sometimes you gotta, it is the comfort crisis. We have things a little too easy. And I am currently living in a place that does not recycle. And so now I'm not at all. It just is like one big bin. Everything goes in. And I don't know if Denver sorts it out afterwards, but They don't. I know. So now I'm sorting things out myself, and I'm taking it myself.
Where are you taking it?
To the to the woman I'm dating house. So putting it in her recycling because she told me to.
Wait, what does she do with it?
As an actual recycling, because she lives in a different
municipality or something.
Yes.
Wow.
Where they actually
You got to tell them to get their act together.
I know.
A lot of it is performance and doesn't get recycled anyway.
Well, I actually looked that up because I was saying that and getting all like, but it turns out Denver is really good at it.
Well, then why isn't your municipality doing it?
I don't know. I think it's just my apartment.
That's not legal.
I don't know, Suze.
You got to check about your municipality, because if your municipality recycles and your neighborhood just doesn't, that ain't right.
Yeah, and my HOA is way too high for that shit.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You got to investigate. Take that shirt.
I know.
And march over.
Oh my God, I should. I'd be like, listen here.
To your community center, and they're like,
I know. Well, that's because that's where I was taking. I was taking all my boxes to the Lakewood Recycling Center.
Good grief.
That's too much.
Everything's stupid. Okay.
Now I'm just like, here's my trash.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's not stupid and is not trash, and that is Ritual vitamins, Ritual protein powder, Ritual everything. It's so great.
Yes.
I love their products. You will love them too. If you want just like a multivitamin, they have that. If you want something for skin, which as you heard last episode, I have had to keep taking all the time because, well, probably because my implant is ruptured. But I thought I was just getting old or something. Who knows? And then they're amazing protein. But they have everything like prenatal, postnatal.
Yes. My brother's girlfriend is currently taking all the Ritual vitamins. Yep. Because, well, and guess what? She and my brother are two people who are obsessed. She works for like drug trial stuff. Like, so she's obsessed with finding out
if it's
the efficacy of stuff, if it's legit. She was already using it before. She did not do this as a favor to me.
Yeah.
This is what my brother and her, like, after all of their research, and they're like, let's find out what the best thing is. My brother's like, you can't even have candy. Like, he's like very strict about what goes in her body.
Well, and it's third-party tested. So they test for metals and microbes. And I checked online because Arnold Schwarzenegger told me to. And I was like so relieved that they were.
There's a whole bunch of junk in other ones that are like not good, and you definitely don't want when you're pregnant. So
that's right, or when you're just human. I swear, high quality ingredients. Start a Ritual that's backed by science without the BS. Ritual's offering 25% off your first month. Ritual.com/braincandy. That's ritual.com/braincandy for 25% off. All their products are really good. Okay, speaking of candy. This is like real quick and so disgusting, but General Mills has, Progressive soups.
Oh yeah, that brand. Yes.
Yeah, like Progressive, whatever, vegetable, whatever they have.
Yeah. Isn't it called Progresso?
Oh. Yeah. They're really progressive though.
I was like, I mean, they make sure those cans go in the recycling. They're...
Oh my God. And the sad thing is we buy them. What the fuck? I'm like probably too in my political brain today.
Yeah, you are. You definitely are. I know where you were. I know where your mind was at. And that was listen.
Freudian
that was
slip.
a Sarah move right there.
That was. And Sarah's like, but I thought maybe like you didn't want to like full-throatedly say like you're a fucking idiot. So you're just like, I thought maybe they used to be called.
Maybe they've changed with the times. They're a woke soup brand now.
Okay, Progresso. Those soups. They are making a new product that you might want to try. Okay. And it is a hard candy that tastes like soup.
This companies love to fucking do this. This is the KFC Crocs. This is the what are some other weird ones that came out where we're like, what the fuck? This is the crossover that.
Okay, but
why are we doing this?
I see what you're saying, but usually I feel like these things are gimmicks. They're trying. It's not a gimmick. Well, it might be, but they're trying to act like it's not. Here's what they said:
hard candy that's flavored like soup.
They're doing a limited time.
If you're not thinking that's a gimmick,
they're doing a limited time offering. They're lozenges that possess the flavor of like chicken noodle soup, and they can be purchased for $2.49 in like weekly drops. I guess that means like maybe different flavors or something.
Absolutely.
And they claim the appeal is, quote, soup you can suck on for when you're sick.
Nobody's been like, oh, I'm sick. I really need some soup. But this hot, delicious soup that coats my throat and stomach and makes me feel full just isn't what I want. So you I'd rather suck on it. What?
This is just PR, you think? This is silliness.
%.
You don't think they might actually think this is a good idea?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good. That makes
There's
me feel
no
better.
way. I can't imagine a situation where I would be like, Oh, I'm so sick. Quick, give me some
You know what would
chicken
make
soup
me
to
feel
suck
better?
on. Like,
Yeah,
no,
soup
not
candy.
in liquid form. I want to just
All right, well, I hope
have
you're
the
right.
essence of it in my mouth. Because after you're done eating soup, you want something to get the flavor of soup out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is all the worst parts and none of the good parts of soup.
I don't know why every time you say soup, it's funny to me.
Well, this whole thing is funny to me. And it's ridiculous that I'm getting this worked up and angry about these collabs, as they call them. But I bet if I were to look up what are the most ridiculous recent collaborations between, because I refuse to say that, what I just said again, that we would see some ones that were, oh my God, like this is what I rolled my eyes at. Nobody needed this. And I don't like anything that's mission, and I hate, I hear myself as I say it. I do understand that this is a mission of all companies and all brands. But I hate when people are just trying to sell you something.
Yeah. You're not falling for that.
I'm not.
Your hard candy
this
soup.
This is garbage. This feels wasteful. You know? Because I bet they came out with some, they're sending, I guarantee you, they're sending like some influencer, some soup can bedazzled box that then they open and it's full of the hard candies, and then they're like, oh, they make a whole video about it, and then all that shit goes in the garbage, and it just is wasteful, and I hate it. And just stick to cherry flavor and then lemon.
She's had it.
And maybe
progressive
eucalyptus.
Soups.
Progressive soups. Progressive. I can't. I'm gonna yeah. What?
Okay.
This
Progressives
you
is
never.
getting me.
If you were to guess what things pissed Sarah off this week,
I wouldn't have predicted this.
I wouldn't have predicted this.
I thought you were going to laugh.
Especially since we talked about stuff related to keeping the planet. What the hell are the word I'm looking for? Conservation and environmental things. Thank you. I'm all worked up.
I think, okay, well, I hope you're right. Okay. This was a really fun article for me that I'm about to tell you about. Okay. Everyone has been a victim of this and a perpetrator of this. Flaking.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, like, when you have plans and then you don't feel like it and you're just like, I'm sorry, I'm not up for it, I'm going to cancel. Or maybe your friend and you have plans and then they say, like, I can't, I'm going to bail.
Yeah.
This article was about flaking and, like, what is driving this sort of, like, upsurge in flaking.
Okay.
What is your sort of policy? Like, what are your opinions on flaking?
So, I feel like with every passing year, I try to, like, have, like, these goals of, like, kindness or, you know, in a way, these things I think about. Like, one time it was...
Yeah, like reciprocity.
And, like, don't park like an asshole. That's when I told myself, you know. So
were you ever doing that?
Yeah, like, sometimes I get a little loosey-goosey with the lines and, like, just, like, you know, the ADHD person in me didn't want to back up one more time and go in. It's, like...
You're like,
right on the line of being annoying, but now I'm like, no, I'm not going to be an asshole.
Okay, you're a good neighbor.
I try to be like that. Mm-hmm. Flaking. I was like, what the hell are we talking about?
Lord.
So I was a couple years ago, not that long ago, where I told myself, if you make plans with somebody, keep those plans with somebody and the original plan. Like, I mean, like actual plans, like not like the, oh my God, let's do this, blah, 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 like those loosey-goosey ones. I mean, like, if you've agreed to a time.
Commitment.
Yeah, if you've made a commitment. And this was more for those moments where, like, I tend to be an overcommitter and I say yes to everything. And then what'll happen is I'll be double booked and then I'll have to tell somebody no, or I'll have to cancel on something. Like, in a way, it's flaking because I've overly, I'm overly committed.
Yeah.
So I told myself, you got to go with, like, whoever was the first one. Whatever you said yes to first, that's what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I worked on, And it's kind of like what you're saying. I don't know, last episode or something about going to the gym and how it's hard.
Even if you don't feel like it, you should do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, this article was pointing out, which I think we could all agree, is that this is an increasing behavior. That
Absolutely.
When you make plans, there's almost like an expectation now that the other person will back out at the last minute or decide they don't want to do it or whatever. And they were trying to explain why that is. Some of it is societal. We're all burnt out. We're all expected to do more than we really can in a day with work and kids and everything. It's just all too much. We're very tired. And also like financial constraints. You think like, oh, I can't really afford to go out. You know, those are like legitimate things.
Yeah.
And then on the other side are the more like what I might stereotypically call like Gen Z behaviors of like the mental health bullshit that makes me crazy. Like I just like need some self-care. I need to stay at home and
hiding behind that for like lack of accountability. Like
that's right. Like using mental health as an excuse for escaping personal accountability.
Right.
And how because of the focus on mental health that Gen Z and younger generations have, which is a good thing. It's almost though an overcorrection where, which I point out a lot in our lives, that sometimes like when you have too much inward focus, it can be easy to forget that behavior negatively affects somebody else. Somebody else maybe got a babysitter or rearrange their schedule to meet you, and now you're canceling because you just like kind of don't feel like it.
Yeah, or maybe somebody really needed that time to talk to you about a subject that they can't talk to you about on text or over the phone, or just, you know, need to be face to face to say like just need a friend or and that in your sort of moment of like, oh, I don't feel like it, which we've all had,
right? That you maybe aren't emphasizing how that can then negatively impact somebody you love. And when there is a loneliness epidemic, which I think we can all agree on that too, that you ought to push yourself in those moments to do the hard thing and to keep your commitment.
Yeah.
And
it's also a commitment to yourself too.
Well, that's the thing.
That because you're committing to yourself. Because I think that's what's really happening here is we say no to things, or we do things or don't do things, or avoid things really, because we're trying to avoid whatever difficult feeling we think might come with that. So if there's the idea, oh, this is going to be emotional labor, or, oh, I'm going to have to put energy into this. It's not like we don't want to hang out. We don't have any energy. Like you said, we're like feeling burnt out. But it fills up our own cup so much when we go and do those things.
Whenever people cancel, do you think that they tend to be thinking about like what you're saying, like emotional bandwidth, where it's like, oh, I gotta like engage and sort of be like social, or is it sometimes like, oh, I gotta find parking, I gotta pick out an outfit, above. Everything.
I think it depends on the kind of who you are and what you put. I'll never forget. I think about this all of the time. So my mom has a friend that she grew up. It was like my grandma was friends with the grandma like that, and then they had kids together, and that was my mom's friend, and then they had kids together, that was my friend.
Yeah.
And very tragically, Mom died by suicide. And she was a woman who was very concerned with keeping up appearances and how she looked. And I'll never forget a story that my mom told me about a party that they were going to, where this woman had, and she was struggling with a lot, but she couldn't go to the party and like almost had a breakdown because she forgot to put on mascara. She didn't have mascara on, and that she like couldn't go there. She was like, everybody's going to be looking at me. Everybody's going to be. Her brain was telling her that was so important,
That would totally happen to me.
And Suze, that's why I think about that, because there have definitely been times I used to keep like an emergency mascara in the console of my car just in case I forget. And I've thought, and so then I said, you know what? Let's do an experiment. Let's just try to go, like, those moments where I said, I'm just going to see what it's like to forget.
That's really
this
beautiful because
and think about that.
Yeah, that's really hard to do.
And it was hard the first time, but then you realize,
like, anybody that doesn't wear makeup is like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
But anybody who does wear makeup and says, oh, like, I can't go out of the house without it, or I know people whose parents or mother taught them, like, you never know who you're going to meet at the grocery store, so you better always be looking your very best, that kind of thing, and or that somehow wearing a lot of makeup equals your very best. That lie, really, that isn't necessarily true. And so it was hard the first time to do that, but when you realize that you can have the same amount of fun, or things could be just as enjoyable, or as soon as you're with certain people. The camping is the best for that, because like going to camp, I never look at a mirror, or I never even put on makeup or care, and my week is just as fun whether I had mascara on or don't have mascara on. And when you understand that, I think you can like free up some of those anxieties. But like it's whatever makes you feel anxious, whatever your brain decides is what's important here. I think that feeling can be so different. Maybe it's I have to talk to people. Maybe it's find a parking space. Maybe it's what if I arrive late? What if I think we have a lot of what ifs? And I know I am going on and on here, but I also think that we are putting way too much emphasis on the social hangout and the that it has to be perfect. I almost think this Instagram, like, Pinterestable world that we live in is also making us think that every hangout with our friends has to be this like top tier, like we go out to this great restaurant, whatever, like all just hang out and fucking cut coupons. I don't even care. Like,
can you imagine if you showed up and it was just like a pile of wieners? How fun that would be. Like hot dogs, and chips and stuff.
Like, who cares?
Yeah,
like that's why I always love going to your house, because there's this, like, there is a feeling of like you make things fun and like fancy, but it's so approachable and so like caviar with potato chips, and you don't have to take your shoes off.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's
that makes me feel really good that you say that. Because I really do want to have a home where people feel totally comfortable, but that they feel like they're being treated like really well.
That is 100% the vibe.
Thank you.
When you come to your house. Because I'm like, don't I say every time I'm like, oh my God, this is so fit for me. But I'm always like, yeah, but like, it really is like that.
Thank you, Sarah.
But at the same time, I feel like I could be wearing my sweatpants and you wouldn't be judgy about, like, it's so approachable.
Yeah.
And I think we need more of that,
okay, yeah, maybe
chill,
what you're saying,
friend hangouts that aren't like, let's just come over. And when you get to that place in a relationship, this is always like the goal of a relationship where you're hanging out but not doing anything. You're just together but existing, and like doing your own stuff. We should be doing that as friends. That should not be reserved for just romantic relationships or intimate partners or people we live with. That should be we should be doing that.
I only have that with you and Kelly. Those are the two people that have seen me without makeup as an adult.
Goodness.
Like since the ruins, I would say.
Okay. Maybe you just see what that
maybe
feels
you should
like.
Talk to a therapist about
No, I mean, you just see what it would be like to just, you can.
All right, I'll think about it.
You know what? We can hide it in something like a camping trip or something like that, so it feels like you're, or like, and you can sometimes you could find like a happy medium. So like you could get your eyelashes tinted, and that, not like you, like anybody. Like when I've gone on like camping trips where or like when I went on my honeymoon, I got my eyelashes.
When you want to look nice, but
like when they curl, like permed and dyed, and it looks like I'm wearing mascara, like that. So you like go, okay, well, I'm not totally not wearing makeup, but like,
it's so silly. It is. I get it. It is so silly, but yeah, there are probably those things that can ease you into it.
Yeah. If that's something that will then give you the freedom to not have some of those anxious thoughts. And that's what I mean about it's different for everybody. I'm just like using that as an example. Like if it's parking spots, maybe then you see like what would happen if I
because my stuff is about physical stuff. I never worry about conversation or like, I think a lot of people worry like, what are we going to talk about? What, like the vibe. I'm not worried about that, but other people, like shy people, they're worried about that.
If you are somebody who's worried about any of those things, I'm also thinking our Brain Candy Club would be the best.
Our Brain Candy Club is a just refuge.
It absolutely, that's like group therapy and like practice for. I guarantee you there are people who say that who could say that has helped them with conversation, to be more social, because it's a very safe environment, and there's a little bit of distance because it's on Zoom, but everybody's so accepting and kind.
We all met, and there was somebody that is a regular that didn't have their camera on, and everyone was like, "Why isn't your camera on? I want to see you." And they were like, "Oh, I don't look nice enough or whatever. I look silly." And in that moment, I started thinking about it, and I thought, I wonder if I would be able to do it. I wonder if I could show up with like my proper jammy top bun hoodie. And I thought, you know what? I actually think I could do it because that's how cool the Candy Club is.
This is what I'm talking about. See how you had that thought?
It's Candy Club.
And don't you feel, I just saw it, if you watch the video, kind of empowered when you say that? Like, wait a sec, I could do that. That's growth. That's what I'm talking about.
It's growth,
Candy Club,
but it's possible because of if you're accepted.
Yes.
And if you can find people who accept you for who you are, that is a gift. And so, number one, Candy Club rules. Yes. And you should join on our website, thebraincandypodcast.com. But also, you can, hopefully, you have friends like that too, where you can be a schlumpadink and show up in your sweats and be loved, and nobody even thinks about it.
Yeah, because there's this, it will free up so much space in your mind.
What annoys me is no man has ever had this conversation.
I hate it. I know. And it's kind of like Julia Fox talks about this a lot, about discovering not dressing for the male gaze and just doing things for herself and the freedom that comes with that. And that is a freaking gift when you go, you know what? Fuck it. I do not care what they think.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah, because fuck those guys.
You won't care about mascara as much, I promise.
In preparation for my interview with the LA Times about reality TV, I was looking...
Which was so good, by the way. I read it, and then I got distracted in reading it and thinking about it, and then I didn't even go back to tell you how great it was and how I'm so glad... Well, yeah, if you are mentioned in the LA Times and you get interviewed by them... It was a great article, and I thought your contribution was fantastic.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to learn more about the journalist, so I was looking up her work, and she had written a piece that I now want to talk about. She did a piece about the reality show The Swan.
Oh, yes.
20 years later. So she interviewed people that were on The Swan 20 years ago. And if you aren't familiar, which... I'm really happy for you if you're not familiar. Right. This show from the early aughts was just like it's like a symbol of everything that was wrong with reality TV. This show tried to get women to come on who wanted to explore plastic surgery to like be some sort of better version of themselves or whatever. And they would go get all this surgery. They would meet with a therapist. So they'd be away from their family for like 2 or 3 months. Then they didn't know this part, but if they were lucky enough, they would be picked from that group to then compete in this like quote unquote beauty pageant. And there'd be ultimately like one swan that won the whole deal. Oh my God. So I didn't even remember how gross it was.
I didn't remember the competition part.
Me neither.
Oh God. But now that you say that, that rings a bell because I remember a sash and a bikini. Yeah.
So the whole article is worth reading. It's in the LA Times, but every part of it is like the worst parts about reality TV, but like times a million because they're actually getting surgery and they would apply and say like, yeah, like I always hated my nose or whatever it was. But then the doctor would be like, you also need cheek implants and like earlobe reduction and like all kinds of crazy shit that they hadn't even thought about. And they're like, wait, all this stuff is ugly too. Right. And so then one lady was like, and I told them, I don't want this and that. I just want these ones. And she was like, I think I would have been cut from the show, but my daughter or whatever got into a car accident. So that was good for TV. So they let me stay. Like, had she just like said no to those surgeries and nothing juicy happened in her life, she would have been probably sent packing.
Oh my God.
Okay. And here's what I think you'll find interesting about it.
And that's even worse that they tell you everything that's wrong with you and then decide who they're going to keep after they've basically told you, look at how ugly you are.
Yeah. Well,
oh my God.
All of them could get the surgeries, but then they would maybe be sent home after the surgeries and before the pageantry.
Oh God, which maybe is a gift.
These people were away for months. They were not allowed to look at a mirror because the whole point was that they would be shown themselves, their new face and body on the air.
That's traumatizing.
So one hooker got sent home because she was caught with a mirror.
Oh my God. I'd be looking in every spoon upside down, just
upside down. Right? They probably gave them like plastic spoons.
They probably did.
Okay. So.
No windows. That is enough to make you go crazy.
What I think that you'll be intrigued by, though, is that all the women they interviewed were like very critical about the process, how they were treated, how the producers like would sensationalize stuff and all the things that you can imagine about reality TV. But they always had like this thing, but it was like, but if I hadn't gone on the show, like I wouldn't be where I am today. And I kept thinking, like, what are they referring to? And they were referring to the therapy, Sarah. The months away from like their real life, like the detachment from like all the pressure of life, the break that they got, and then the time with the therapist, like intensive therapy, changed who they were.
Wow. Well,
I mean it. They said it explicitly. It wasn't like I'm just reading between the lines. They said it.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and that the nobody was like, oh, thank God I got this plastic surgery. They were all like, thank God this woman taught me about my trauma and how to cope and like how to get self-esteem and self-worth.
Maybe we just need that. Okay, so there you go.
Can you believe that?
Intensive therapy. Yeah,
I mean,
I can believe that. Because that's why I became a therapist. Because I know how much this shit works. And I know when people get the opportunity to see and I know that a good therapist will help, has a gift of seeing the good in all people and seeing what every person has to offer and seeing value and helping. And that is the real mirror. I love being a mirror for people to reflect who I see, which is always
that is so well said.
Much greater than what they see.
That's the
at
real
that moment.
Mirror. Mm-hmm. Holy shit! You're right, because they all said without exception, that the only person on the crew or involved in the show that truly saw them and made them feel worth was this one lady that did everybody. I mean, and she says how maddening it was and how hard it was to do her job in those circumstances.
Oh, she's a good therapist.
Yeah.
They got a good one. Oh, I would love to meet her. I would love to talk to her.
You should interview her on your show.
I abso-fucking-lutely will.
Okay.
That is a great... I'm going to write that down right this second.
Yeah. It was like Inani or something. Inanni, I think. But I'll look it up. But like... They were all just like, thank God for her. She changed my life. And here's the thing, though. In the same way that the plastic surgery is an extreme example of what most people are going to do, 3 months of intensive therapy is an extreme version of what anyone can do.
Yeah.
Most of us cannot stop the clock, go away from our kids, go away from our spouse, leave our job, and just talk to somebody about our whole fucking life.
No.
So, like... Those kinds of like miraculous outcomes are harder to do when it's the slow drip of like real life. However, what it does is illuminate that if you want to change and you have somebody who will help you get there, that you can become a different kind of person.
Absolutely. And they trusting the process. And I bet there's something about feeling like you were alone, like there weren't any other people in your corner, and then having this therapist who clearly did a good job and was a good therapist, it's kind of like, how we always called it at camp, like this like a summer camp crush, where like there's something happens when all of a sudden your options get limited, where somebody who didn't look that great before, oh my gosh, is all of a sudden like, because you have limited options. So I feel like when there are limited options, and when your world and like the number of people that you're around is like greatly reduced, that it will allow you to form a tighter bond with that therapist faster. And because that is like your one ally in there, and the person you can trust. And they
had the same setup as on the Real World and the Challenge, where they couldn't watch TV or any of that.
I can imagine.
So this it sucked probably, but the therapist had a real opportunity to have an impact.
Yes. And that relationship being that close, that would be really helpful.
Her name's Lynn Ianni, Ianni.
I am going to find her and have her on my show.
Well, thanks for listening. I know I went over our time, but you know what? I appreciate your patience. Totally worth it. Thank you for listening. Check out thebraincandypodcast.com if you want any of our codes, or if you want to join our candy club, which you should. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.